Hey YouTube, what's good? It's your girl Nick coming to y'all today with Love is Blind Season 3, Episode number 8, entitled The Perfect Fit. Please forgive the hair. I had to set it free from those puffballs that I've been wearing for about 2 weeks now. And it's just doing whatever it wants to do with this headband in the front. So let's get into it. So, let's call this segment Sisters Are Doing It For Themselves. Ladies doing it for themselves. The episode starts with Colleen. She's in the studio doing ballet. She's like, you know, even though it's ballet is very tough mentally and physically, it's her safe space, it's her therapy. And she lets us know that, you know what? The night before was a really bad night when she finally got home from hanging out with the girls. When Matt was mad, she said she got home, she saw the bags packed and everything. And they had it out. You know, him barking how he always barks. She was like, but this time I didn't take it sitting down. That's what I mean by sisters doing it for themselves. She stood up to him because usually she's happy-go-lucky. And the other times we've seen her cry when he gets irate and upset. But this time she said she stood up for herself and she was just like, listen, you're not going to keep doing this to me. You making it more than what it was. I just hung out with the girls. Either you're going to be in this or you're not. You're not going to keep running and packing up saying you leaving and stuff. Like, that's not what you're going to do to me. And she said they worked through it. And it's, you know, the wedding's back on. And in my opinion, I think this might have turned Matt on. Because then he said he liked the women's with a little bit of spice. Okay. So now we get to Nancy and Bart's apartment. Bart is still sitting on the sofa looking lost. He lets us know that it's been really hard, like, trying to work through the fact that Nancy's ex is so involved in any business that she has, and the fact that how she feels about abortion. That she thinks it's okay to have an abortion if you find out that the child is going to be born with illness and problems. He was like, and he been going through that, and that's keeping him from being physical with her. And so it's like wearing him out. So when he comes home, he's just looking lost. And Nancy is expecting him to come in and show her some affection. He used the words jump her bones, but I don't think that she waiting for him to jump her bones every second he come home. I really think that is the whole issue. You not showing any affection, like you distancing yourself from me is where she is. But he was like, you know, I still want to try to work it out. I want to try to work through it. Because I do love her. It's just been difficult working through these things. So she comes out and they have a conversation with one another. And she stands up for herself and lets him know that what you said to me last night, it was wrong. It hurt my feelings and it was mean. He apologizes, tells her that he loves her, assures her that he does want to get married to her. And I'm just like, girl, don't you go in this eyes wide shut. Bart don't sound too sure, baby. Don't go in this eyes wide shut. So Raven and SK in their apartment cleaning. And they start a conversation talking shit about the other couples and how they are so much more mature and have different problems than the other couples are having. So Raven makes mention of someone the night before saying, who do they think would make the worst wife? And Alexa said Raven. And it's not because of what she thinks. She thinks that Raven is so independent and non-traditional, and her approach to being a wife and, you know, being in a couple with somebody, that she's not sure if that's gonna make, you know, a good long-term thing. So her and SK have a whole conversation discussing that, about how she's different and that is what he likes about her. That's the reason he chose her, because of her independence and the fact that she isn't traditional, like she's unique. And that's what he loves about her, as he says in his confessional. Zay and Cole meet up at a bar where he apologizes for what transpired between him and Colleen and everything that had happened at the group meetup the night before. They too reaffirm their love for one another over some cheesecake. He makes a little joke. It turns her on, and she's like, he might be getting lucky tonight. Then we head over to Brennan. Well, not Brennan just yet. It's Alexa and her friends. So it's like 2 homegirls and 2 guys. One of the guys is gay. And I feel like her and her homegirl look a lot alike. One of the homegirls. They look like they could be sisters. But Brennan comes in and he meets them all over there. So he speaks and everything, and she was like, he got to meet my girls and my gays. He speaks or whatever, and like they just dive right in. Like they want to know, do you really love Alexa? Cause she deserves a good guy and everything, and we want to make sure that you're marrying her because you genuinely love her and want to marry her, and not because you know or feel like that's what she wants. So are you going to say yes because you really want to say yes, or you doing it because you don't want to hurt her feelings, basically? Ooh, juicy mouth, basically. So then after that, he was like, listen, I really love your friend. Basically, and lets them know, like, chill on me, like, relax, like, don't come at me like this. I love your friend, and I really do want to marry her. Then we see Colleen and Matt. They are somewhere meeting up with 2 of Matt's best friends. The best friends come in, introduce themselves. They all speak to one another. They talk about the relationship and all that kind of stuff. And then Colleen actually goes into detail about what transpired the night that he packed up and said he was going to leave. So she was saying that, as they were leaving the venue, the girls took one Uber, the guys took another Uber. When they got in that Uber, they decided they was going to head to a club. They was going to go to a club. She FaceTimed Matt to let him know that's what they were doing, because that's what they had said before they left. And I guess they decided on which place they was going to. She tried to FaceTime him. He didn't answer. And she looked at him and said, remember, you didn't answer. You didn't see the FaceTime. She said, then I FaceTimed him again. And this, when he answered, he said him and the guys had all went home. And he got upset because he saw me in the club. So he gets to turning red and everything because he's a bit embarrassed. He was like, wow, you going deep into it, aren't you? And she was like, well. And so the homeboys was like, listen, he's a good guy. He deserves to have a good woman. But we know Matt. Matt is, he's going to yell, but because he's an emotional guy. But those emotions can be a good thing, but they can also be a bad thing, because if he's emotional like that and blow up like that off the handle, what she's going to feel and start to experience is emotional abuse, y'all. So let's be mindful, okay? So we see a confessional with Matt. Matt's like, even though he said he's moved on, he realizing now that it is hard to move on from a relationship with someone that you knew since 10th grade, and they knew everything about you, and you thought everything was good, and then all of a sudden you get this phone call and then crying. He was like, and he knew it. He knew when she called what she was going to say, but he was saying that she called him. She said, I have been cheating on you, and I'm pregnant by the person I cheated on you with. And he was like, that's the last time he'd heard from her. And then him meeting, he tried to stay to himself, and he has gone on a few dates. So much so that the friends call him to date Matt, because after 2 dates, he out. He don't have nothing else to say or deal with the person or whatever. He said it's been, it's been rough. It's been hard to, like, open up, and I get it. And he was saying, like, it might seem like he got cold feet, but he realizes that his issue is he's still scared after what he's been through. So he kept finding ways or looking for ways to have an out, to say, peace out, I'm not doing this anymore, whatever. So the guys asked Colleen, is she going to say yes? She never admits whether or not she's going to say yes. What she does say is that she's really in love with him and she really loves him. And things change day by day. That's all she says. She never once says, yes, I'm going to say yes. So Raven is out with SK's mom and another young lady and an older lady shopping for a gele, which is their headpiece that she'll wear for their wedding. And I'm not sure who the young woman was and the other older lady was in relation to SK and his mom. But they get to talking to her and questioning her about what they're going to do at the wedding, what type of wedding it's going to be. And she had to let them know, like, listen, we're going to have some Nigerian stuff, some traditional Nigerian things happen during the ceremony. And we're also going to do some stuff my way. Traditional for the American way, because it's not just his wedding, it's mine as well. And so then they start this whole conversation about what it means to be a traditional Nigerian wife. And the younger woman, she's telling Raven all these different things, like make sure you carry yourself in a certain way that nobody can be talking about you, and bringing it back to him like you was out here gallivanting and doing this and doing that, like not representing him right. Make sure you keep food in the house all the time, so make sure you keep some stews and different things like that. And the whole time Raven just looking, and I'm looking and thinking like, her and SK just had this whole conversation where he said he knows that she's not a traditional wife, and that's what he appreciates most about her. But yet here you are telling her all the ways in which she's supposed to be a traditional wife, like telling her all the ins and outs of doing things the traditional Nigerian wife way. And another thing was the older lady. I thought I had a deep voice, because I did used to get, that was one thing that kids used to tease me about growing up. But that lady, I had to look up, that lady sounded just like an old man. And I'm not saying it to be mean, I'm just saying what I heard, But yeah, they talked to her about that, and I'm just looking like, girl, you sure you want to do this? So then we see Bart and Nancy, they have a little dance lesson. Looks like they were doing salsa or something. And at the end of the lesson, they sit and talk, and he once again is reassuring her that he is in it for the long haul. He thought about something her parents said and something his parents said, and it was that you can't work on a marriage if you're not in it. Like, you got to decide in your mind that you're going to be in it and you're going to work through all the things, or put your best foot forward to work through some stuff. So therefore, he has a renewed sense of putting in the work to make this last and go. So Nancy is appreciative of that. He asks her, do she feel like she want to do a dance like what they was just practicing at the wedding? She says she don't know. She's thinking about it. So then we see Cole and Zay. They walking. They come upon some bridge. He lets us know that she gave him the gift of a lock. And her idea is that to symbolize their love, that they locked in for life, is unshakable, unbreakable. They'll put whatever city that they visit together, they'll bring a lock and write on it and everything, and lock it on the bridge in every place they visit that has one of those types of bridges or whatever. And they write whatever they're going to write on it. And then he fakes and he drops a lock in the water below. And she is a little bit hurt and sad about it. And then he turns around and shows her that he had the real lock that she bought him in his back pocket. He was just playing or whatever. And he also lets her know that he has spoken with his family once again. And they have agreed that they do want to meet her. But they don't want to meet her until they actually have the wedding. And she's like, what? She was like, I always dreamed my groom's family would be there just like my family is there to celebrate what family that she does have. Because remember, Zay's parents are gone. So she is really like trying to create family here. So she really wants the family to be involved. And she feeling some kind of way about it. And she's asking him, does he feel a way? And he was like, I feel like they opened the door just a little bit by saying they'll agree to meet once we are married. So I'm just going to take that and run with it. Like, I feel positive from that part. So I'm just going to hold on to that, and we're just going to see what it's going to be. And they both agreed that they definitely going to be saying yes and I do to one another on their wedding day. And apparently the wedding is actually 8 days away at this point. So it's dress shopping day and groom pick out a tux day. We see the ladies arriving to shop for their wedding dresses. And then we head over and we see Bart with the tailor picking out the jacket and his jacket and how it should fit. And also having a heart-to-heart with his sister. So he lets her know that, you know, once they got their phones back, he was able to talk to his friends. And the first thing his friends all, and this is in like all of his friends, they all were like, yo, like, what are you doing? Like, you just gonna marry somebody you just known for 10 days? Like, what are you doing? And they're skeptical about it. So his sister is like, listen, hold on to what you and Nancy developed in those pods. Do not let the real world ruin the magic that you two created getting to know each other in those pods. You had a once in a lifetime opportunity to go and meet somebody. And that was because what's happening, what you were currently doing in the real world wasn't working. But this seems to be working. Keep putting your best foot forward. She's a beautiful girl. And she has a lot going for herself. And I think she's the one, you know, she's the right fit for you. I feel like those issues, because you said y'all didn't really have any issues until it came down to really the abortion thing. And you said y'all talked through it and y'all basically worked through it. So continue to do the work. But don't give up on it. Don't let the real world and all the other stuff that can be coming in your ear ruin what could be a really beautiful relationship and a good thing. And he's just like, okay, all right. And he lets us know, you know, like it was hard getting through that stuff, but he's definitely gonna try. He's not gonna allow, you know, his immature thoughts about the looks and things like that, and then what the homeboys had to say and stuff like that, ruin it. Like he's gonna put his best foot forward. So then we head back over to the girls. We see Nancy mom, and she's just smiling. She happy to be there with her daughter picking out her first wedding dress. She started crying and boo-hooing before Nancy even gets a dress on. Nancy comes out in a dress, and she cries. She says, you know, this is my only little girl, and I just want her to be happy. She's my princess, and she looks beautiful. I want my daughter happy. So we see Nancy saying that it took a while for Bartiz to marry his physical and emotional connection for her. But since he has, it's been like overnight he changed. He's been very attentive and very affectionate toward her lately. And she feels like things are headed in a much better space, and they're headed down the aisle to say I do to one another, is how she feels. Okay, so we see Matt and his homeboy at the tailor shop picking out his tux for the wedding. And the homeboy asks him, you know, Matt, what was it about Colleen? What sold you on her? And he starts to say, because she's so bubbly, she has a very beautiful personality. She's always like, when I wake up in the morning, she's sitting there just bouncing, ready to go. And she just got a good spirit about her. And the homeboy is like, you know what? I think she's the one for you as well, because she is everything that you like in a woman. She's really, really sweet, but she got a nice little bit of spice to her. So then we see Colleen actually trying on wedding gowns, and she picks this Grecian goddess type of dress. That's what it gives me, and it has a full skirt at the bottom. It's really pretty for her. Then we see SK in the tailor shop talking to Cole, and he mentions that he won't be wearing a tux. Him and Raven are blending American and Nigerian traditions together for their wedding. So he's wearing something, I think he pronounced it as agbaja or agbaje. It's a traditional outfit that the men, Nigerian men wear for their weddings. And in the midst of him telling Cole this, we see him actually at a shop trying on and picking out the one he wants with like a friend of the family and his brother. By the way, which one is older, him or the brother? So he was telling Cole, like, you know, I'm so thankful that Raven is happy to blend our cultures together. And it's really important for the elders in the Nigerian community that you try your hardest to blend those things or to do those things and do them correct. If you don't, they do extend some grace for you to get it wrong, because you're not going to get it perfect if you weren't brought up like that. And then we see Raven trying on dresses. The dress she tries is super plain, like a triangle sweetheart cut at the breast. Has just a little sheer where you can see just this top clear part of her boobs. And it's funny that this is the dress she's trying on and saying that she wants, when we just heard SK talking about the traditions. And I know traditionally they don't show anything like that. They might show this and some of the arms, but this, I don't think they normally show that. But she said, you know, this her wedding too. It's not all about him. And so she gonna pick something that she likes. And we hear Alexa telling her, like, yeah, girl, you American. And her homegirl is there too, the best friend. She's like, yeah, we gonna American this wedding up some, so you can be sexy for your wedding on your wedding day with this dress that you picked or whatever. And then we see her in a confessional talking about the fact that she's willing, you know, she's feeling like she's compromised a lot and adopting some of his traditions and stuff, even though that is not her as a person. She's not the traditional type, you know. But for the love of SK and his family, like, she gonna do what she needs to do to try to do, you know, combine both of their cultures. So then we see Brennan and his brother talking, and the brother's talking about how he likes Alexa. Alexa has been to the farm. So as I was saying, the brother is like, yeah, she went out to the farm and met our parents. Like, that was a big thing. She must really love you. You guys must really love each other. And Brennan is like, yeah, we do. So we see Alexa looking for dresses, and she's like, I'm a curvy woman. I don't have a whole lot of boobs. So therefore, I want something fitting that's going to show off these curves, show off my sex appeal and everything, and play up the boobs some. So she tries on dresses and stuff like that. She picks one. And then we see Cole. Cole is in the tailor shop at the moment with one of his friends. And they're discussing the looks for the wedding. And he, the tailor shows him it was like a dark blue jacket it was printed though. So as I was saying, Cole, the tailor showed Cole this printed jacket. And his friend was liking it. And Cole was like, you know what, I like this too, but, I'm just going to stick with the black. So as not to stress her out even more on the wedding day, because today's really hard. She's actually going to go try on dresses and pick out a dress. And it's especially hard because she doesn't have any of her parents because they're both deceased. So she has a stepmom with her. And also her sister wasn't able to get a flight to get out here to come and be with her today. So I'm not trying to rock the boat and do anything that will upset her. I just want the day to be perfect for her sake. And his friend was like, all right, cool. So then we see Cole in the confessional, and he was like, I feel like we've gotten through the thick of things, and I'm good. Like I'm totally on board all the way with this wedding happening and everything. We made it through a lot of trial and tribulation, and I'm ready. I'm ready. So then we go to the wedding, the bridal shop with the ladies, and we see Zay go and try on something. And so the stepmom is like, I know this day is hard for you. She was like, yeah, because like my sister's not here, my parents aren't here. And the stepmom is like, but they are here. She was like, no, they're not. And stepmom is like, they're here in spirit. They're watching over you, basically. And she's like, yeah, but I want them here physically. And then my sister's not here either. And so she picks out a dress. And stepmom video calls her sister. The sister's name is Sakina. So Sakina can see the dress. So Zay comes out in this really pretty dress. And she was like, what do you think? Like, I picked it because I thought it's like really pretty and sparkly. But I was like, Sakina's going to like this one. So I'm going to pick this. And I'm thinking to myself, like, girl, you got to pick a dress based on what you want to look and feel like for your wedding day. Not based on what somebody else might like. But we all know that Zay is very concerned about what people think. What the outside world thinks and not what she thinks. So the sister says she loves it. She finds it to be very beautiful and she should go with it if it's what she really wants. Say has a breakdown. She cries some more and stuff about the fact that her parents aren't there to see her get married. And that's when we see Nancy's mom says, you know what? Moments like this, that's what makes you really appreciate and treasure your family and hold on to them because you just never know. It's moments like this that you know. You got to really show love to your families. And treasure them while you have them. So, did I get everybody's dress? All 5 women. We had Raven, Alexa, Nancy, Colleen, and Zay. Right. So, all of the shopping is done. And we see a conversation between Raven and SK. He asked her how was her day with his mom. And she was honest. She said, it was cool. She said, but the first thing out of their mouth was that we want to give you this piece of advice. And the first piece of advice they want to give is make sure I have stew and food inside the house. And I'm just like, that's the one thing you want to tell me? That's the one piece? That's the first thing you're going to say? Is make sure I'm cooking for this man every day? And he was like, yeah, they're traditionalists. And he had all this talk about, he appreciated the fact that she wasn't conforming. And she wasn't traditional. She was her own unique self. But yet, on the flip side, now that we get into the wedding day, you got all these concerns and thoughts about her sticking with your Nigerian traditions. You're double talking at this point. So, he also brings up his mother's concern for the fact that none of her family is going to be at this wedding. So, at this point, we learn her family is very small. She has her mom. Her mom has a brother. She, I believe, is an only child. So she got like this one uncle and like the grandfather just passed or the grandmother just passed. So they dealing with that. the uncle got something going on. And so that's the reason, like, those are the reasons that nobody in her family is coming in town for this wedding. And she really resents the fact that she's explained to his mother on more than one occasion about how small her family is and what's going on and why they won't be in town to attend the wedding, but yet you still harping on the fact that my family won't be there. And so we start to see the cracks and the foundation for SK and Raven's relationship. And she resents, like she upset, like, you keep bringing this up, your mom keep bringing it up. I cannot force my family to be there. If they can't be there or choose not to be there, it's nothing I could do about that. And SK is just sitting there with this weird look on his face, like, and I'm just thinking to myself, you double talked. You kept talking about how you love this independent woman. She's not traditional. And the moment that her independent, non-traditional self bucks against your Nigerian traditions that you said that you didn't uphold as much, now you having concerns and feeling a certain way. Y'all think they gonna get married? I already told y'all, I was thinking that Raven really wasn't feeling SK or like he was feeling her. And at this point, I think she going along for the show's sake. I still don't buy it, but we'll see. That was episode number 8, y'all. I'm gonna be back at y'all in a second with episode number 9, okay? Thanks for clicking on the video. Make sure y'all like and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And again, after all this, now that we get that we're 5 or 6 days out from wedding day, what couples y'all see saying I do to each other and actually making it? And which ones do you see saying no? Y'all let me know in the comments. I'll see y'all in the next episode. Peace.